Hi everyone and welcome to the SmackDown Live pre-show podcast. We're back. The Dream Team is back. No more security guards, no more Adams, no more jobbers. We now have a king, we have a curmudgeon, and we have a Scotsman. That's enough. Hi Ross.
Hi Kenny.
How are you?
Lovely.
How are you? I'm good. It's nice to see you out of the king garb, just kind of strutting about the office.
We'll get there soon.
Mr. Dixon, taking a break from writing books to join us today. Much appreciated.
With a snazzy new little...
Well, snazzy is a word that's not true, but for that particular facial hair.
You got a problem with it, like?
It's creepy.
Are you going to take this from him?
So,
I'm not allowed to interrupt, apparently, so I just won't speak.
that's what we're in for today, ladies and gentlemen, on the SmackDown Pre-Show podcast. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, obviously you don't see the hilarity and the shenanigans that go on in video, Ross. Should people check out the video?
Yes, because you'll see this lovely can of iron brew. Iron brew. Iron. That's how my physics teacher used to say iron. He was from Scotland. Iron. He put an extra R in there for no reason.
We do that with all our R's. Murder. Burger.
But he
Can't
went
help it.
iron to say iron.
I don't know what
Nobody
to say.
cares about
Nobody
SmackDown.
cares.
Let's just talk. What are your thoughts on pit bulls?
I prefer
I like
pugs.
them. Pugs, right?
Pugs.
Well, do you prefer a dog breed to pit bulls?
No,
No, you like a pit bull, do you?
I don't care.
More of a cat man?
No.
So, if we can attempt to talk about wrestling for just 5 minutes of this, I do want to ask you in all seriousness, James, we've not had a chance to talk since TLC. TLC's happened. AJ Styles did retain the WWE Championship, but there was a lot of interference from James Ellsworth in the lead up to the match and at the match itself. And now leading into tonight's show, there's going to be a title match with AJ and Ellsworth. I'm not going to ask you who's going to win, because we all know it's AJ. Tonight on SmackDown.
Is there? Oh, yeah, he was injured last week, wasn't he?
AJ Styles versus James Ellsworth for the championship.
Bloody
What I
hell.
want to
They
ask
hire
you,
us for our knowledge base, really.
but I do want to ask you, in all seriousness, because a lot of people are talking about this, and both people sit on different sides of the fences. But in terms of the Ellsworth stuff, has it hurt AJ Styles' title reign, or is AJ so good that it doesn't really matter? So, because obviously when he beat John Cena at SummerSlam, then he won the championship. Now there's the Ellsworth stuff, and once that's wrapped up, he's going to head into the Royal Rumble. One would assume for a more serious challenger. But sum up the Ellsworth stuff. How has that helped or hindered his title
It's
run?
gone on too long, I think. You know, it's lasted a couple of weeks past the point where it was amusing. I think we all saw it come in the finish, though, right?
Yeah.
With Ellsworth, and I don't know, man. It was good at the start, and I understood at the time why they went with it because people were reacting to it. But I think, as usual with WWE, the joke wears very thin very quickly. What are you doing there? You know, giving away the kayfabe. Yeah, it's worn very thin very quickly. I don't think it's hurt AJ though. He is too good, as you say, and I think I'm certain he's going to work with Taker at Rumble. So
That Rumble,
he will be fine.
That Rumble.
Speaking of Taker, Ross, you've for months, it seems, in the pre-show podcast, talked about Undertaker's turning up here. He's going to do this. He's
What
not,
a
he's not
massive
coming back.
hypocrite he is, though.
He's
He'll
back.
no longer be defined by WrestleMania, and then he's gone.
Well, he's not
Just
going
like
to
he
be.
was before.
He's going to be defined by the Royal Rumble.
He said he was going to be a regular character.
I know, yeah.
Well,
It's like when The Rock came back home.
I'll never leave again, and then he left again.
He's got to turn up sooner rather than later, though.
He probably
Wouldn't
will.
mind it was tonight if he just wiped out Ellsworth
Should we
forever.
have another pound on this?
Nah, because I don't have that many pounds to give.
You still didn't give him a pound from the last
I
one.
know, I just can't afford it.
But in terms of coming out of TLC, the Miz obviously retained the IC title. Ross, do you think the Miz as IC champ is the way to keep going?
Oh, yes. Man's on fire.
In terms of Ziggler, though, what would you like to see from Dolph next? You do the WTF moments. I was going to say the actual words there, but you do the WTF moments. It's your job to criticize and pull apart every single thing that they do. What would make you criticize Dolph Ziggler less? What could he do?
Dress like a normal man, not like a massive bell end.
So see if someone was blind, right? If you were
Right.
watching wrestling with a blind fan who could only hear what was going on,
Right.
and you had to
They'd
describe...
be impressed by Dolph then, because his promos have been all right, better than what he looks like.
So how would you describe him to a blind person?
Going through a midlife crisis, isn't he? He is the dad that's going through a midlife crisis that still continues to wear the leather jacket he wore in 1987, even though Dolph was a mere nipper in 1987. So it doesn't really work that now, does it? So I've just made a mess of that. He's confused, isn't he, Dolph?
He dresses like
He's
a
weird.
guy going through a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
See, I thought for a while. Remember when he was doing the kind of when he was doing the stuff with Lana and Rusev, and he wore a lot of denim, and he looked like he was auditioning for like a Broadway musical.
Yeah,
It's a weird look.
he looks terrible.
I feel like he has to turn heel now because he's lost so many times to
He needs to do
Miz.
something.
'Cause
He's
what-
back to square one? Let's say square one. The square he was in at the start of 2016
Yeah,
in no man's land. Nothing going for him.
It's been that way for a while, though.
Well, he had the Intercontinental Championship feud that got him back up there a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, he always sort of goes up the card and then falls right back down. Like that time when he won the Survivor Series match for Cena and friends and got rid of Stephanie for that joyous 1 or 2 weeks. And then immediately after winning that huge main event, then he's back, same role, upper mid card. Never really given the progression he should.
I just think he needs to do something different, something we haven't seen from the guy before.
Is it him though, or is it the creative team?
Bit of both, isn't it?
Surely I think part of it is him though because he's not that interesting a character. Miz came along and took advantage of a situation where he was told you've got some time in talking smack, go and tell Daniel Bryan what you think of him, and he knocked it out of the park, and he's been doing that ever since. I mean, the Miz, like I was saying this to Adam Blompe and I have recorded an end of the year thing talking about potential matches of the year, and I think Miz has stepped it up a lot to the point where he's actually been in contention for a potential match of the year.
Well, he's
Like,
completely changed the majority's perspective, haven't they?
Yeah, I
They
agree.
respect him now, don't they?
which is great.
WrestleMania time when he won that IC title,
Everyone
everybody was so
angry.
pissed. Yeah. But he's been the wrestler of the year in WWE, AJ aside. I
Yeah,
think.
and getting Maurice back was a big boost for him as well. I'm
Well,
going
he
to
freshened himself up, which is what Ziggler's needs to do. I think we all
Yes,
agree.
100%. I'm going to butcher this name because I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. Garudin? How would you pronounce that? Garudin?
Garudin. Yeah.
Garudin.
Garudin.
Garudin. So Garudin wants to know... what?
Garudin. No, it doesn't matter.
Garudin wants to know about... Because SmackDown Live is a bit thin in the babyface side. Dolph Ziggler now can't really challenge for anything. Dean Ambrose is wacky. James Ellsworth is awful.
Cena's away.
Cena's away.
Undertaker's
A liar. A massive
a
liar.
liar.
Undertaker's a big liar. But Gruden wants to know about maybe Samoa Joe turn up because Samoa Joe.
Babyface?
Yeah.
Well, because
No.
do you think he's going to turn up though? Because it feels like Joe. He's finished the feud with
It looks
Nakamura in
like
NXT.
Yeah.
Is he coming up?
He hasn't been part of the next month's tapings, has he? He wasn't there.
You'd
he's
think the
not- he's not
Rumble,
on the
though, right?
ticket.
Rather than just a random SmackDown in the deep in
Like
December.
shake it up a bit. Just have him turn up on a SmackDown, attack somebody. Right Ellsworth off with the Undertaker, tag team. Just get rid of Ellsworth at any
Taker and Samoa Joe are becoming a tag team now.
Just to get rid of Jimmy Ellsworth.
Oh, we've gone into a bad place here.
Wow.
How King
was
Ross
just a-
should have booked.
It was just a joke. It was meant to be funny. I just want to see the end of Ellsworth. That's all I want.
I mean, I think you will.
Jamie, you see that? What if somebody else
Soon.
asked here? I don't know who it was because there's a lot of questions, but somebody had asked, where does Ellsworth go next on SmackDown?
The Indies.
Home.
But he's been signed full time.
I know.
So now we're stuck with him. I mean, he's going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania,
Of course he is.
and he's going to probably
Win it.
throw out something big just to be funny. But
He'll throw out Joe or Nakamura or something.
oh, don't. Can you imagine? Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if Samoa Joe is eliminated from a Battle Royal by James Ellsworth?
Instant feud. Well, he's a main eventer apparently, so why not?
It was Armstrong XL on Twitter had asked about after the main event push for Ellsworth, what's next for him? Hopefully main event,
No.
as in the show.
Oh, the show main event.
Put him on main event. I don't watch that. I don't assume.
No.
I mean, what else can he offer? You know, what's the position? He reminds me of Zach Gowen. You know, when he was there, he was like a gimmick for a couple of weeks. You get one program out of him, and then there's literally nothing for him to do.
Osprey as Pappy has decided to ask 96 questions on Twitter because we could realistically get through all of your questions. But he does want to know, is Baron Corbin growing on James
No,
Dixon?
he is not growing on me. Do you want me? I'll walk out again. No,
not even the chairs match.
No,
He beat up Kalisto.
no. I mean, I like that, but
Come on, he
well,
beat up Kalisto.
not that I watched it.
That was a good chairs match, that.
Was it?
It was.
I mean, I was making a cup of tea.
You see, this is the thing. He says he hates Baron Corbin, but I said, oh, did you see Baron Corbin last night? He goes, no, I walked out the room when he came on. He doesn't give the guy a chance.
Why?
Awful human being, you.
Why repeat
Awful.
the same thing repeatedly,
not that,
over
is
and
it?
over again, when the results are the same?
Just watch him, give him a chance. You would have been impressed by that chairs match if you watched it. You would have. I was.
Ross, question for you. Theodino22 wants to know about. It's talking about SmackDown having maybe exhausted storylines. Are any trades needed soon? And obviously, I want you to discuss for me because you, after this, just to break the fourth wall, right after this, you're going to be recording this week's WTF moments for Monday Night Raw if there's not a new Reloaded to shoot. But because
There will be.
priorities.
Yeah, everyone watches that.
But recap shows, great.
Features Drew Galloway versus Matt Hardy this week.
That is good. To be fair,
Yeah.
that is a
What a
good
match.
Yeah,
You know,
for the WCW title.
I thought you were going to be.
Where have you been? And you coming back to commentary now?
Were
You're
you gonna-
commentary of
were
the
you-
year.
Now I'm commentating.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like King Ross to return to commentary for WCPW on Reloaded, by all means, let us know on your Twitter machines.
I'm better than Reloaded. Come on now.
So now you want to be back in the main
Box
show?
Oh, so you want to be on the main show
Box
again?
office here.
Oh, you want to be on the main show, everybody? Maybe the pay-per-views alongside Jim Ross.
In 6
Maybe
minutes,
Jerry
he's going to be
Lawler would like to
backtracking
come
on
in.
this faster than you
I
can
want
even
me, I
imagine.
want me trophy. That's all I
He's
want.
going to be very cross after this, ladies and gentlemen. Very cross indeed.
So Ross, back to the question at hand.
Right.
You do the WTF moments.
I do, yes.
Theodino wants to know about potential trades. I want to know what you think about trades happening if you want to see any, and also what do you think about Mick Foley having the audacity? And we're recording on Audacity.
Very
the
good.
audacity
Clever.
to say that Sami Zayn.
Is worth the same as Eva Marie, when Eva Marie is worth 2 of Sami Zayn. Nobody gives a toss about Sami Zayn, do they? He's a good wrestler, but he's got no character, has he?
Used to.
Has he? But no, now when he's doing this on the stairs, no one reacts.
Do you want to see him on SmackDown?
If he develops some sort of character other than I'm going to fight for what is right and I'm a good wrestler and don't cheat.
What difference does it make if he's on SmackDown?
That's what I mean.
It's the same team.
He would probably
It's
get.
still WWE.
He would probably get more. Look, put it this way. I
There's
don't.
more spaces
I don't.
at the
I don't
top
think the
there.
Miz.
Sure.
I don't think the Miz would have got his opportunity and the chance to shine like he has on SmackDown.
He was already getting it.
Not on Raw. Not as
was already IC champ.
it wasn't, but it wasn't working the same way. Having Talking Smack there, having a smaller
Right,
roster
Talking
where
Smack
you're
put him
able
over
to.
the edge, but he'd already built to that point where he could
But
do
on
that.
SmackDown, it's a show, but it's a shorter show. There's more chance to shine on it.
How
There's not
does
as
that
much-
make sense? Where's the logic of that? A shorter show with more time?
Oh no,
to
it's
shine?
not logical. Logically, it should be the opposite way around.
Less bodies
But
to fight through. A thinner
on
forest, if you
SmackDown,
will.
on
Less
Smack,
Stephanie promos.
on
that's the
SmackDown,
thing.
you don't need to deal with Stephanie. You don't need
That's
to deal with
true.
Foley's back and forth heel and
We
face
do have
turns.
Shane and Brian cutting backstage promos every week.
They weren't on
They're
last
short
week.
though, aren't they?
They weren't last
They're usually
week,
short though, and not.
Shane-
They're not usually.
Shane's
about
not been on
getting
for 2
themselves
weeks.
Well, forgive me, Kenny, but
Right.
every other week since
Every
the
other
brand
week.
split, there has been.
Is there anything you'd like to see traded to SmackDown? to make
Cesaro
the
after
show?
last night.
Cesaro.
The man he deserves better, doesn't he, than what he's getting at the minute. He
He
seems
does.
to have no idea what to do.
Do you
with
not
him
think
and
he'd be
Sheamus.
better trading himself off to the Indies, where he'll be utilised correctly?
I just think he deserves a lot better than what he's getting now, stuck in a tag team with
But
Sheamus.
that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think going from Raw to SmackDown really is going to make that much difference for someone like him? If Vince doesn't see it, and he doesn't see
if
it.
he walks onto the SmackDown roster, he's immediately a lot better than what
if they push him,
the majority of SmackDown.
but they could
are.
still use him the exact same way, couldn't
They
they?
wouldn't, would they?
Why? Why wouldn't they?
Here
Evidence suggests they might.
here would be my argument against Mr. Dixon. Ryan Ward was the head writer of NXT. NXT was a tremendous television show. Ryan Ward left NXT and went to SmackDown. All of a sudden, NXT is not as good a television show, and SmackDown is a better one. So even though Vince is at the head, when you've got a good guy as the head writer of the brand, you can get more things done. You can get
A little.
plus you have an hour less to. You don't have a cruiserweight division, which is tanking. There's all these things less. And on SmackDown, you've got like. It's like if you have wrestling figures, right? And you're like, okay, you've got 10 figures. Make the best matches you can. You're like, oh, great, okay, well, I'll make these 5. If you have 30 figures, you might just blow your wad and not know what to do and start messing about, and that's what WWE do. They have
So you think less is more is what
in
you're saying?
WWE, for
Will
sure.
Maybe.
Ryan Ward not be getting a promotion?
To Raw.
Because I don't know. No, I don't know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
The way I've gathered from what I've read about this guy getting sacked, you have the head of Raw creative, the head of SmackDown creative, then they report to this guy, and that guy was fired.
Yeah, but that
would-
guy is Vince's yes man. All of these people here are irrelevant. Vince here is the only one that makes any
Just call
difference.
Ryan Ward irrelevant.
He is irrelevant. Like,
bit-
I think he's a talented guy, but he doesn't have any power. It's all
He
Vince.
doesn't have any power, but in saying that, I think that when you look at NXT and how good it was when he was the writer,
Right,
and then
but
when
Vince
he
wasn't
and then,
involved in NXT.
but then SmackDown, when he's the head, when he's writing SmackDown and SmackDown's suddenly become a better TV show, there's something to that.
Yeah, but you can't say, oh well, Raw's bad because of Vince, but SmackDown's good because Vince isn't as involved. Vince
I
is
didn't,
just
I
as
didn't
involved
say that.
in
No,
both.
I'm saying
that is an argument people make.
I'm saying I think SmackDown is better because you've got this writer who has went and been able to do his own show in NXT, craft his own way of telling stories, and he somehow has been the one guy that can actually get through to Vince about, well, let me do this.
We assume.
Well, I mean, the show's better. The SmackDown show's better. More people are progressing. Why is it not happening on Raw and it's happening on SmackDown?
There's no evidence to suggest that it's him. We assume it is because we know he was good in NXT. We know he's now on SmackDown.
Just by the trend of
you'd think that's why, but not necessarily.
But I mean, if you look at the success stories on SmackDown, The Miz, for example, The Miz, he was the IC champion, but on SmackDown he's had the chance to, have a battle with Daniel Bryan where he gets to be the star of it and he's not overshadowed. If that was Mick Foley.
You can't deny that on Raw it is just a series of matches with the
I agree Raw is boring and SmackDown is better.
But SmackDown actually has a bit of reason to the matches.
It does. It's a little bit more wrestling.
And also SmackDown has a bit of a uphill fight because there's not as many guys.
Yeah, the roster's weak. But here's the opposite argument. We put over Ryan Ward here. Okay, but then how do you explain the James Ellsworth thing lasting forever? How do you explain Baron Corbin's sustained push of death? Also, we give Vince...
No.
So we give Ryan Ward the credit for anything good and we blame Vince for anything bad.
But I'm saying that it's been on...
It's all on Vince.
It is all on Vince ultimately, but James Ellsworth, Vince adores him.
Of course he does.
So
it's amusing to him.
So Vince is going to be like, include him in the storylines. And then you can only try. I mean, you can only shovel for so long.
Applies to all of it. Like
you can only
anyone that's pushed is because of Vince. Anybody who's pushed is because it's what Vince wants.
But there is a way to get, from what you hear from former creative writers, there's a way to pitch to Vince. Like if you walk in, now we all know sometimes there's some people you just need to go in on certain days and pitch certain things, and other days you don't pitch certain things. You just get to know people. You get to know when to bring things up.
Yeah, but Vince is very trigger happy with his writing team.
He is, but in saying that, SmackDown's been going for 6 months and it's been a better TV show. So something's happening on SmackDown, whether it's Ryan Ward or Ed Koskett, whoever the hell it is, it's getting better. But as we sort of wind down here in the SmackDown podcast, the SmackDown pre-show podcast, I did want to ask you, Ross, about Mickie James. Mickie James, PW Insider reported she is signed, or she's going to sign, she's been offered the contract to go back to SmackDown. Do you think she'll be a good boost for the women's division?
Absolutely. Showed she could still go with Asuka. I think the perfect role for her would be for her to be revealed as the actual attacker. Because while Natalya was... She did look a bit guilty last week, didn't she? That wasn't the be all and end all, was it? Mm-hmm. She was just like, oh, maybe it was.
Do you think there's a worse actress in WWE history than Natalya? She is the worst.
Yeah, she's a terrible baby face.
Terrible heel.
Yeah. That is her taunt when she's a baby face. Like Sloth from the Goonies.
Sloth from the Goonies, yeah.
But to answer your question, no, you have even Marie. Even she's been in a film, hasn't she, recently? Is she coming back now? She's been mentioned on Raw. I thought she'd been Benoit, me. Use some smarky hipster language.
Wow.
No, you know what I mean by Benoit. I don't mean she committed. I mean, WWE just...
Should clarify, I think. Yeah.
WWE are just making sure they don't mention her.
Why would they do that?
Because she hasn't been mentioned at all since she's been away filming this movie.
And then she was used on Raw as a prop joke.
But at least she was mentioned.
True.
That put my...
All press is good press.
Yeah.
I think Mickie James is going to be a welcome boost to the division because it's not that strong. You've got Becky, Natalya, who's a good wrestler and should never be given a microphone. But the rest of them, like they need somebody like Mickie James to step in. For you, Mr. Dixon, Randy Orton was on a podcast, the Main Event podcast, earlier on this week, and he was asked about being part of the Wyatt family, and he had said, he basically indicated in this interview, and he could be lying, obviously, but he indicated that he is very happy being in the Wyatts, happy with the change of character, it's feeling right for him. An exact quote as he said, I get to do what I love to do best, and that's be a heel. So each week is a little different. It's not getting stale. Nothing against Sheamus, but it's not working Sheamus every night for 6 months. And then he goes on to say that he has thought about changing his look, but he's trying to find the right thing.
He needs a beard, doesn't he?
What do you think of Orton and the Wyatts and how this story has developed?
Absolutely love it. I think Randy Orton was very stale. One of the most boring guys on the roster. Even though he'd been out for like a year injured or something, as soon as he came back, it was just like, man, Randy Orton, But now I think he's interesting again. It's probably the most interesting he's been in the last 5 years, I would say.
They need
At
to have
least.
this go on for ages, though.
It does, yeah. It
Because
needs
there's
to be
still that
fully
lingering
ingrained.
thing, oh, he's just going to destroy
Yeah.
them from within and all predictable.
Yeah.
What I think he's done.
You can't
is
do that.
What I think he's done that's quite clever is that he's not being too Randy Orton-esque that makes you think he's going to leave, but he's not being too much of a Wyatt that makes you think he's going to stay. He's playing it kind of in the middle, so that you don't really know where it's going.
But I think that's a problem though, because you can't be half pregnant. Either go all in, or don't.
It's true.
Well,
but the thing is,
is
the
that
good thing not that maybe they're
you can't
building
get
that.
invested in it though if he's somewhere sat in the middle on the fence.
But is it better if he gradually gets there like this, rather than just like because when they did the Daniel Bryan thing a couple of
do you
years ago,
gradually join a
But
cult?
it makes Bray.
No, they join
Bray's
it,
a
you
cult
don't.
leader, isn't he? If Randy's going, oh, I might be, I won't be. How weak does that make him?
Yeah,
But I remember
exactly. You
nobody
should just be all in.
But nobody liked when Daniel Bryan just all of a sudden started putting overalls on and became a Wyatt.
No, but that was a different scenario though, because everyone loved Daniel Bryan and wanted him as a babyface hero, and nobody cared about Randy Orton.
You saying people don't love Randy Orton and want him to be a babyface?
Not in the same way as they love Daniel Bryan. No.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes.
I think it's good. I think it's been really good for him.
I'm interested in it. I like the Luke Harper dynamic as well. That's quite good.
Look.
To see where that's going to go.
Look, Harper.
Barry Horowitz, is that what you were saying? Because apparently Jim Ross said it that way, so you need to say it that way all the time now.
How did
Jim
you
Ross, who has roughly
Here we go.
13% less vote than me in the WCPW commentator of the year. Paul.
I can't wait till one day you have to try and say that in front of his face. And you will brick it.
Well, folks, as we said, if you want to see King Ross and Jim Ross commentate together, maybe at Milton Keynes on February 12th, then by all means, write to us.
I'm doing my hair that day.
Is that right?
I wanted to ask you, Ross. Stu here is trying to be funny, and he's saying, do you think they need more people on commentary on SmackDown? It's not what I'm going to ask you.
They need two men, Mauro and JBL. That's all they need.
Oh, you want JBL?
Last few weeks, there's not enough.
Is this part of
John-
your turning over a new leaf for Christmas situation? You're
New year,
trying to
new
be
me.
You
funny?
see, you're revealing secrets of the trade.
Is that
You're
right?
WhatCulture.com.
Is that right?
What
Hello.
explain to the listeners and the viewers your assessment from July to now of the commentary of David Otunga.
That was it. Just silence. There's no point in him, is he? He's a waste of oxygen. He's awful. He's awful. There's no other word for it. He's awful.
Do you think that he has any...
People are going, oh, he's brilliant saying sweet chin music, because that wasn't written for him, was it? Awful. He's just an awful human being. Dead behind the eyes. Awful fashion sense. Just get rid.
But he's married to Jennifer Hudson.
That's all he's got going for him. That's how he's in WWE.
Would you work out with him?
No, because he'd embarrass me. Embarrasses? That's me Geordie coming through. He'd embarrass me. He's still dead behind the eyes, though.
I still think he's better than Cole.
How?
I don't know. Cole makes me just want to not watch. Otunga just amuses me because he's so naff.
Yeah. Well, I can see where you're coming from there.
Jake...
Get rid.
Okay.
You only need two men.
Kill them all.
Tom Phillips, you want to
See,
get rid of him as
Tom's
well?
good, isn't he?
Tom
He's
is
a
good.
play-by-play guy. He's not
Yeah.
a colour guy. He's play-by-play. And if I had to pick between Mauro and Tom, do you know what you just
Put
said?
Mara on Raw, put Tom on SmackDown, send Michael Cole packing.
You can't get rid of Maggle. He's part of the furniture now.
So was Jim Ross. But he was actually talented and they got rid of him.
Jake Jackson, Mr. Dixon.
What a good argument you are.
Indeed.
Jake Jackson wants to know about, do you think there'll be a draft again, like as a post-WrestleMania thing? Do you think it'll be an annual thing?
Yeah, they'll do it every year. It's a way to pop a rating.
Do you think it'll be in July or do you think it'll be right after WrestleMania?
I don't know.
Where would you put the draft?
I'd wait at least until the two rosters have had a year to develop. So
July?
Yeah, I mean, knowing what they're like, they'll do it and they'll swap all the champions and everything will get confused and they'll split teams and it'll be just silly. You know, they could do it in a good, interesting way, but history suggests they won't.
And I want to ask you, you're very on the cusp, Ross, of pop culture and all that. What did you think of the appearance last week on SmackDown of internet sensation celebrity Sophia Grace and her segment with Nikki Bella?
I didn't know who it was. I just thought it was a make.
Who knows who any of these YouTube people are, right?
Well, they know me. They worship.
Who,
Yourself.
WWE?
No, those people there.
I see.
Them
WWE, no, you don't worry.
Maybe WWE will invite you to one of their shows. Remember when Blue Meanie and
I
JBL
would
had a situation?
never, ever, ever go to anything they invite me to. Never, ever.
Why?
Because I get the absolute piss beaten out of it.
So if you want to see King Ross in WWE, write to WWE at Stamford, Connecticut.
P.O. Box. Anything else about SmackDown that you want to talk about?
There's a new guest host this evening, is there?
Gabriel Iglesias?
Gabriel Iglesias. No, I thought that was obviously
Julio.
I was gonna
Enrique?
go Enrique, yeah.
Who is he?
Don't
He's
know.
a comedian?
Stand-up comedian.
Is he?
I mean, I say comedian in its loosest term. Enrique Iglesias, favourite Enrique Iglesias track?
My hero.
I know. Want to belt us a verse?
No. Do you?
No.
Do you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Get off. 2002, where were you?
Wrestling.
listening to Korn.
You've still got 4 minutes left. You know,
Mr.
Kevin.
Dixon, we were talking about this in the
How we
car on the
You've
way
still got
over
four
here
minutes,
today.
30 seconds.
We don't need to go exactly the 30
Let's
minutes.
go the exact 30.
Well, you think of some topics while I get
Come
this
on,
stuff sorted.
what's your question?
Question is, we were talking about Christmas in the car. James Dixon and I have one thing in common. We both love
I
Christmas.
do love Christmas.
So,
Yes.
tell the lovely people, the listeners, the viewers, the people that pay for us, what Christmas film should they watch this year before the big day? Give them a suggestion. Give them an endorsement, a recommendation, if you will.
Santa's Sleigh, featuring Goldberg.
Pish. Santa with Muscles, starring Terry
Yeah,
Bollea,
of course.
where he rescues a group of African American children from a fire. The
Jingle All the Way. Home Alone's 1 through 2.
Jingle All the Way 1 or
Not
2.
3.
Christmas with the Cranks
Is it Jingle All the Way 2?
with the Miz.
With The Miz.
Is that the one he did with Paige?
Isn't it Santino Morales?
No, that's Santa's.
What's on Santino's? Isn't that Jingle All the Way 2?
No. That's,
Is it a follow-on from Jingle All the Way 1?
Well,
With the Miz is Arnie's child? or
That's what I
something?
mean.
No.
I don't think
I
they're
don't wanna see
directly
them.
linked. But
If it's not involving Turbo Man and Arnie, I'm not interested.
Christmas with the Cranks, Jamie Lee Curtis and Dan Aykroyd. Very good film.
great film.
Love Actually, which is debatable apparently.
The Nightmare Before Christmas is a classic.
Die Hard. As a
Die Hard.
sign on Raw last night.
Die Hard, a
It
Christmas
better be
movie.
in your thing.
Let's
No,
talk
it's-
about that guy.
It's not a WTF moment because it is.
It is a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
We
Die
all
Die Hard
agree.
is a Christmas movie.
I know, that's what the sign said.
Okay,
That's
so
On that bombshell.
we've got 3 minutes left. What do you want to talk about?
if we had to choose a coloured hanky to wear in our back pockets, what colour would it be?
Right, bye.
Sky Blue.
Sky blue? What does sky blue mean?
I don't. We're not bringing. Come on, we've done so well. We've done
Why is it
so
bit of
well.
storyline, bit of development, where the SmackDown, bit of, we're going to link these podcasts, not with that big Joe. Just
Talk about
spouting
Big
out
Joe
questions.
Simpkins, Kenny.
Go on.
What is it you hate about Joe Simpkins?
I like Joe Simpkins.
Oh, it's different to what you were saying in the car.
Oh, for f***'s sake.
You've sworn again.